Hey guys! So today I want to show you how I personally use herbs as incense, also to cleanse things. So this is going to be relatively informal. I'm just going to go through and show you what I do. Basically, anytime I feel like there's any sort of staleness in the house, or if I'm feeling low energy, or if I feel like burning incense, sometimes instead of burning incense I'll just burn some herbs, and I find it's just a really nice way to make me feel kind of witchy, but also makes the house smell kind of nice and helps get some of that stale feeling out of the house. So first what I'm going to show you is my cauldron. Yes, this is indeed a little cauldron. I got this on Amazon. It was just a couple dollars. You can get a little cauldron, you can get a burning pot, anything that's going to be safe to set fires in. Basically, you want to make sure that whatever you're getting is not going to catch on fire, that it's not going to get super hot and like melt your table underneath or anything. So first of all, just be really careful on what you use to burn things in, because if you're not careful, you could hurt yourself, hurt someone else, etc. So I'm going to show you the different herbs that I have, and how I kind of decide what I want to burn. So here I have some bay leaves. These are literally just dried bay leaves, like the kind you might cook with. Bay leaves are great for protection. If you don't have sage, a lot of people will use bay leaves instead. It's kind of like a nice home remedy, easy to find, relatively inexpensive. So that's one thing you can use. I also have here some borage leaf. I have yerba santa. I have a thing of white sage. There's a bunch of different kinds of sage. I just got this, so I just use the white sage. I have some arnica flowers. These I don't use for burning. These are not burn safe. Not all herbs can be burned. Please make sure that you're double checking whenever you're thinking about getting herbs to burn that they should be burned. Okay, so we have white sage, we have borage leaf, we have yerba santa, we have bay leaf, and then this is what I use. Called Swift Light. They're like little charcoal things. You can get these. It's basically like the things you burn when you're smoking hookah. So any hookah shop or smoke shop will usually have these. If you don't have like a like an herb shop or a crystal shop or any sort of new age thing in the area, you can easily find these like in a smoke shop nearby. Also, you can order them on Amazon because in the modern day, why not? I forgot about lavender. So I also have a jar of lavender. I keep the lavender in a jar because it's easy for me to identify that it's lavender, so I always know I won't get it accidentally mixed up with any other herb. So my lavender I keep in a little jar. I actually keep this in the bathroom, and sometimes I sprinkle some in my bathtub whenever I'm going to take a nice relaxing bath. So that's lavender. So the thing that I want to mention is whenever you're buying your herbs, if you're buying them from like an herb shop or like any sort of new age shop and they come in like these little baggies, they usually come with like some sort of label attached, and the label generally tells you what the herb is good for and how you can use it. So for example, on the one for lavender, it says lavender is used in a variety of traditions for purification and protection. The scent may help calm and induce sleep. It is associated with love and attracting males. Methods include burning, smoldering, carrying, scattering, and potions. So we know that lavender is good for burning because it literally tells us that. If you're buying herbs and you don't see it tell you whether it's good for, burning or carrying or potions or anything, make sure you're searching for it before you just start kind of touching stuff, because like arnica flowers, for example, I believe are like toxic if you ingest them. So I definitely don't want to keep these like with some of the other stuff that I like burn and kind of like, sometimes I like burn things and then, go prepare food or something. So, for me, I like to be mindful whenever I'm touching something that I need to wash my hands after. So now I'm going to just kind of show you how I put my stuff together. Okay, so first I have the charcoal that I'm going to start burning to put in the cauldron. The instructions say to just kind of start burning a corner. I like to put it inside so I don't burn my fingers, and then I just kind of light it while I'm in here. It's all really dark, so you're not going to be able to see too well, but you can kind of see it sparking. I like to kind of go all across the top to make sure it's all sparking really well. And then once I see it kind of lighting up, then I know it's good to go. My lighter's also running out of juice. Pro tip, if your lighter runs out of juice, you can light it on another lighter. Hashtag resourceful. So I'm just kind of letting this get nice and hot. Sometimes it can take a while for it to catch. I don't know if you can see, but the sparks will kind of start going across. And that's how you know it's starting to heat up. So while that's kind of heating up, I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna kind of prepare the rest of what I'm going to be burning. So what I like to do is I like to kind of prepare everything in like a little area. Sometimes I use a seashell, sometimes I use like a little box. It's really just something for me to gather all of my herbs in so I can dump it into my cauldron at once. So like I said, this is getting hot. I'll know it's hot enough to put stuff on whenever like the top level gets white. So in the meantime, I'm gonna grab some white sage. So since I'm burning it in my cauldron, I don't like to get like a big bunch, so I usually pull out a couple little stems. Not this much. And that's probably more than enough. My pot's really little, so I don't want to overflow it with stuff. I just want to kind of get a little bit in there. So I'm just kind of crushing this to make it a little more like a powder, because then everything kind of mixes together a little nicely. If you have a mortar and pestle, this would be a good time to break that out. I am not that fancy, so I just kind of use my hands. Next, I'm going to add in borage leaf. And I'm really just going to take a pinch like that and sprinkle on top, and I'm not even going to use all of that. So there's not a lot of stuff in here. Like I said, my little cauldron is kind of on the small side, so I don't want to overflow it with stuff. Put that away. Okay, and then next I have yerba santa, which looks a lot to me like borage leaf, so I like to keep these in the little baggie so I don't get them confused. I do have little jars of it somewhere but I have them very clearly labeled. And it's not that these two are poisonous or anything like that. It's just they each have their own uses, and I like to make sure that I'm using exactly what I want to. So what I'm showing you tonight is basically the blend that I usually use whenever I burn anything. Now I'm adding in a bay leaf. So I literally just take one bay leaf, and kind of like what I've done with the other stuff, I just kind of crush it up in my hands and fold it around. These should be dried, because if it's not dry, it won't burn. But that's true of any plant. If it's not dry, it just won't burn. So yeah, I'm just kind of crushing this up until it's relatively small. It doesn't have to be like powdered by any means, but just not quite as big so it can fit into my cauldron. And then I'm actually going to add in a little bit of my lavender. I like adding in lavender because it actually makes everything smell good. Sometimes whenever you're burning sage and other herbs, it can smell a little strong or a little pungent. Not everybody likes the scent of sage or other herbs. So oftentimes, I like to throw in a little lavender just to make sure that it stays with a nice light scent. So I'm going to come back over here to my cauldron. It's a little hot. I don't usually touch it, but you can kind of see it's starting to turn white, and that's how I know it's hot. So I'm just going to take this and kind of mix it around so everything's, not kind of clumped up. And then I'm really just going to pour it into my cauldron on top of the charcoal. And you should be able to see that it has begun smoking. Ta-da! So this is what I like to call my homemade incense. I like to burn this, like I said, whenever anytime I might burn a candle, like just for the hell of burning a candle, I also do this. Like you can see, I burn candles, I burn incense like this, I burn like traditional incense as well. But this is something that I like to do. It makes me feel cleansed. A lot of these have cleansing properties, and they help also before I do readings to make sure that my head's kind of in the right space. Especially if I haven't done a reading for a few days or a week or two, I like to kind of burn some things and just kind of, maybe drink a cup of tea and just kind of be cleansed. So yeah, that is how I cleanse stuff. Thanks, guys.